What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Dr. Funk live Spreecast after show. Thank you guys for watching that replay from 10 years ago with the Bobby Z and just technology. Do not miss our 10-year anniversary show that will be coming up this Wednesday with Seth Everett. And right now, we're going to give you a brief taste of what you'll expect plus more on Wednesday with our guest, not the hat. The hat is not a guest. That's going to be coming off in a minute. Here is Mr. Seth Everett, my former co-host.
Oh my goodness.
This hat.
You still have that hat.
I saw the Third Eye Girl hat that I had, the other stuff that I made that they copied for shirts. But yeah.
That's so funny.
Wow.
How you been, man? I haven't talked to you in 10 years.
At least on camera, maybe.
No, that's true. That's true.
But my God, dude, like, I just have to say, like, for myself, it's just cringeworthy watching yourself back.
It's crazy. I mean, so it's such an experience. And, you know, that year was such a unique year. Doing that show with you was so much fun. And that was our third episode. That was our third show. And by then, when we got done, I just remember saying to people, I just was like, wow, this is a real thing. Like, this was a real show. And it was a great experience.
Just absolutely insane. I mean, it came about, and we'll talk about this more on Wednesday.
Sure.
It came about in September of 2012.
Yep.
Me just going on Twitter going, yeah, I'd love to do like something that's like a podcast, but video. Yep. Is there technology for that yet? And then,
well, the backstory of that was I got hired by Spreecast to do sports for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was hosting a bunch of sports shows, and also I was in charge of recruiting people to do sports shows. And one night over a beer, and you have to understand, Spreecast was created by the two guys who created StubHub. So like they had immediate street cred. And I met with them, and they said, you know, they wanted Spreecast to be more of a community. And they said, so do stuff that like fits your personality. I remember I did a show in September of that year on Superman, and they were like, "Okay, what's your favorite rock band?" And I was like, "I was a big Prince fan." And they said, "Okay, do some show about that." And I did a show, and I had like 20 minutes worth of material. I was a fan. That was it. And they were like, "Oh no, do more of that." And I was like, "Well, if I'm going to do that, I need a co-host. I need somebody to come on as a guest." And I found you, and I found your site. And my thought on you was either you were a mega fan or you knew him. Either way, you were a perfect guest. And so you came on as a guest. And then New Year's happened, New Year's Day.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget, I was at 1010 Wins in New York City. And you called, and you said, "Can we do another one?" And I was like, okay. And so we scheduled it. And that was the week that Prince joined Twitter.
No, well, with Third Eye Girl, because they were doing all that stuff. And yeah, it was just,
that was exactly what happened.
Was supposed to be this whole mystery thing of a person that was getting hold of recordings they shouldn't have and all these different things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and then literally from the first show gave me a list like, don't make it sound like I'm talking. You asked the question. So if people remember those shows or other stuff, a lot of the questions I was asking was coming directly from Prince. And I will post some of that stuff, like the emails or whatnot. And he would be watching live. Someone asked it during the show. He would be watching live at times. And then I'm getting a text like, "Hey, have Seth say this." And then you'd hear me clacking on the freaking keyboard, sending you a message because I didn't want you checking your phone. Like we wanted our things to be on there. It was so crazy.
After we did that show in January, the one show, you called me the next day. I remember where I was. I was in the grocery store, and I'm in the grocery store, and you said, "So we'll get guests booked. we'll get some show notes, and he'll send music to play on the show. And I went, who are we talking about here?
And I'm like,
And I
Prince.
couldn't believe it. And we kept that a secret the whole year.
Yeah. That he
That
was
was
behind it. Like I did remember one time, like when we played some music with stuff, like he made this thing like, Doc needs to use better judgment. And I was just like,
yeah.
dude, no one wants to hear two guys just talking about you without your music being played. If you want me to do that, okay, I won't play it anymore. But I pushed back on him. And this is what I'm talking about with the people at the bank, with other people. They don't like the pushing back. I pushed back on Prince and we were rewarded. He would give us a song
Always.
every week to debut. We play about 45 seconds to 120 of it, depending on how long the song was. And then immediately it would be on sale for thirditunes.com.
Yep. That was so much fun. What a wild, wild experience.
It's just crazy. I mean, I was not comfortable on camera. So you had to be the person that navigated stuff. And when there was questions, be like, all right, Seth, ask this one. And then it was just, you saw how uncomfortable I was. The sunglasses, my little comments because of being nervous, that's where it comes from. Even with the way I was talking, like it was just terrible.
I don't know about terrible. I just remember trying to get you to just car salesman it up a little. It was just give me a little showmanship, and it was fun. It was fun. We did that for an entire year.
Yeah. And I kept it going. And then obviously with the Dr. Funk podcast with Spreecast going under. And of course,
Spreecast went under in 2014. And the funny part about that was I was traveling. It was when I saw you in person. Mm-hmm. In 2014, I went to LA and I saw you. We had lunch together. And I remember we took pictures then too. And then I went to San Francisco right after and I met the guys at Spreecast. And there was a closet full of gear, like T-shirts and hats and things like that. And I they said, do you want anything? And I was like, no. And then we went out for like a meal or something. And they were like, Spreecast is closing its doors. And as I walked them back to the office, I took a hat, a sweatshirt. I took everything because I knew it was going to be a relic at one point. Like there's nothing there.
It's just insane because the
people are they're so nice. They were so wonderful. Greg Wax and Colin Evans and Jeff Fleur and Val Riley and Chris Delgado, all those wonderful people. They were just amazing. And through social media, I stay in touch with all of them.
Right. So much ahead of their time. If only, well, we don't want COVID to happen at all. But so we can't say if only COVID would have happened in 2014, it would have saved them. But just so far ahead of their time. And I wish, like some of the things that Spreecast had, unfortunately, the comments don't carry over and things like that. And I screen, just like we did for Mr. Michael Dean right now. I wish that the comments would, that's what I like now is we can do it. But what I liked about it was we get so many questions. So we literally had 1,000 people in the room at once. And we would, for some episodes, we get over 100,000 because Prince was publicizing it.
Yep. He would send out the link. He would send out the link on his Twitter account.
Yeah. And what I liked about it was that the questions, because there were so many, we can just like put them in a queue and set up, and then we'd open up for next week's show. We knew we'd have a show, we'd have it in there, people would be able to ask questions. Then we'd open up the chat room before, and then because of our show, I think they allowed us to have the chat room open for an even 24 hours, like because of how popular our show was. We had Bomani Jones had his own show, all these other things going on. But we were, especially when Prince would publicize, go there now. And when Third Eye Girl announced their tour on our show, not Fallon, on our show, that was just insane to me.
That was crazy. And then people were like, how'd you get those guys? I just, that was the funny thing about what people would ask me about the show when Prince passed. When Prince passed, people were like, you did a show. Did Prince ever like mind that you did that show? Yeah, he minded. He literally produced the show.
He was a producer. He gave us the list of questions. He booked the guests. Can I just say?
Oh, and Bobby Z calls and says, a little birdie says, I'm going to be on your show. How do I do that?
Yeah, it's just absolutely insane.
It was wild.
That I wish I had a booker now, because it just makes it so much easier. Like Prince, like, hey, you're going to do the show on Wednesday. I'm like, okay, whether it's Shelby, whether it's all Third Eye Girl, it's like he hits me up like on a Tuesday, like, can the girls come on? Can Third Eye Girl come on your show tomorrow and announce the tour? I'm like, are you even asking? Like, just say they're going on your show tomorrow announcing the tour.
Yeah,
like,
and my response every time was, can we test it? Remember that?
Yeah. And oh my God, that's one of the things we're gonna put it up there. But people saw the delay in the show today, and sometimes we were talking over each other. But with Third Eye Girl, there would be like a 5-second delay between you and I.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a 45-second delay with them at Paisley because they didn't have the setup for the internet. Like, literally, there was that huge firewall that
firewall. Remember that? Firewalls can shut down. The way Spreecast worked, it was flash based for you tech nerds. It was flash based, and firewalls could shut it down. And
of course,
there's ways to bypass it, but it takes, like, you have to do it hours in advance.
Right.
And we never did because he didn't want to test.
Yeah. Prince was so far out of his time. You look at the comment from Pamela, freaking amazing. Just love how he figured out ways to be closer in touch with his fan base without the labels and middleman muddling it up.
Yeah.
And then Stacy, I could see Prince reaching out to fans. He used their artwork, talked with us, and tried the peer-to-peer CD sales. He was really accessible at the end. Look, there's photos of Prince from 1978 with fan artwork. He was all about that. And the whole thing is for years, he was pushing back on me on Twitter. We made him an account. And then that's what I'd use for after shows. Like, I was behind it. It was all ready for him. And then I came up with the concept, like, after the after shows, he can delete the tweet. Why does he keep it up? And then the manager was like, interesting. And of course, he did use that. But July 2013, we're at Paisley. I'm like telling him about Twitter again. He's like, I don't tweet. And I went, it'll put you in closer contact with your fans. He wanted nothing to do with it. Then he does Montreux. Then he does City Winery in New York. Oh. And then he's on Twitter. And people are like, why did you tell him to join Twitter? Because that's your thing with the website and the social media. Like, you're getting information out. I'm like, you have to adapt. So I have to learn something else in order to reach out. And that's what it comes down to. And see, with Michael Dean being in the room, it reminds me of it. Like, I had no idea about his show when I was putting up the idea for you and for doing a video cast. So it's just like all these different things would play into it, but I was all about the technology and like, is there a video format? And then there you were.
Well, I remember, through my broadcasting work, I was involved in podcasts. And in 2009, I was involved with ESPN's podcast. And I thought podcasts had to be done by corporations. I didn't know that, anybody could come up with a podcast. And I love the idea that there were so many great Prince-centric podcasts out there. That was something that I thought was fascinating. It was funny, when Prince passed, I thought about having you come on my podcast. We did a tribute, and it was funny because at the time I didn't want it to be about our show. Wanted it to be about his career. So the timing wasn't right, but it's one of the few times, because I have two podcasts. I have Sports with Friends, and I have this superhero show, the Hall of Justice. And it was one of the few times that the episodes were coinciding, that we put the same audio on both podcasts. It was Prince, Ben Affleck was both. And when Hugh Hefner died, this is crazy. When Hugh Hefner died, we had an actual Playboy Playmate come on the podcast. And I was like, what is that, sports or comics? And I was like, it's kind of both.
Which Playmate?
Well, she worked at NBC Sports Radio. She was a producer. She was her name was Miriam. She was wonderful. But when Hugh Hefner died, she called to book me for something for NBC Sports. And I said, wait a minute, you you're a Playmate, right?" And she said, "Yeah." And we never asked her about it. But when Hugh Hefner died, I thought it was a perfect time, and she was beyond willing to come on the podcast. And we didn't do video podcasts at the time. I didn't know how. Spreecast had closed its doors, but yeah, on my podcast that I do, very rarely do we cross the streams. But that was Prince was one of them.
It was just like, because when it comes to Playboy, like I actually did read the articles.
Oh,
I
of
couldn't
course.
tell you Playmate or a month, but I could tell you the OJ interview where he's talking about like, and this is 1981, where he's like saying like, if any woman cheats on you, the only thing for them is death. And
Right.
then with Beretta back in 72, that he talked about his infatuation with guns, that he's going to kill someone someday. And Robert Blake, well, he was proved innocent. But then even John Lennon's last interview, I could tell you all these different things when it came to reading Playboys back in the day, but I couldn't tell you anything about Playmates. I really was one of those fools that probably should have been wearing the shirts. I read Playboy for the articles and actually mean it.
Lincoln Kennedy was a massive Prince fan, and when he was a football player, and when he played for the Raiders, he met Prince, and so he came on Sports with Friends when Prince died. That was the way I went with it, because it was somebody that was connected but disconnected, not from this world.
Is that the Raider that was married to Denise, aka Vanity? Because she did end up marrying a Raider at one point.
No. He was never married to no.
Okay. A lot of
That'd
people
have been
don't know
awesome.
that. We just try to keep Denise's personal life or private life private, albeit it was out there that she did marry someone that was an Oakland Raider at the time.
Oh, that's so wild.
But man, like I'm so looking forward to the show on Wednesday. There's going to be some very special surprise guest. Hopefully some old Spreecast heads will be in there and
That's so
future
funny.
ones. I haven't been doing the show as much because, you know, my future plans, what I'm trying to do, and I don't want to get that messed up, but I do miss doing this.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just had to get way more comfortable on camera. I remember when I was at Paisley interviewing people, and I was so uncomfortable on camera. I'm literally interviewing people like this. I'm sure Seth was like watching, going, "What are you doing? Why are you folding your hands? What's wrong with you?" And he was like trying to get me more comfortable on camera, and I was terrible. The shades, everything. I don't know, man. But I appreciate you putting up with me. My God.
Nah, you were fun. It was an adventure, man. It was very high maintenance, but yet it wasn't. And there was a lot of pressure. I remember that. And it was an experience I'll never forget. My joke when he passed, my joke was we were 0.8% of his illustrious career.
For that show. I mean,
39 albums, we were 0.8%.
It's just insane, dude, because like when I joined the online world in 1998, and he immediately like took a shining to me in my comments, and it's just I didn't know why, and we'll talk about it on Wednesday, why he paid attention to me, and I didn't know until after he passed, after Owen's book, and then there was something in there and I went, "Oh." But you know, like he would say things, and just the online thing, just to question the moment, was like a paragraph and a half where everyone else was just getting 4 words, if even that. And then here he is, he's saying he's not going to curse anymore. And then he drops 2045 radical, man. I'm like, dude, you're saying the N word in that. That's a curse word.
Yeah.
You know, I know he's talking about the F word and other stuff, but I was like, it has to be everything, you know. And there was, before like the music club kicked off, he was editing all those words, not just the F word and other stuff. But I appreciated that he allowed me from then till April of 2016 to push back on him and allow criticisms, because a lot of people weren't able to be critical. And then, you know, I'd hear from Afshin or Bobby and just other people at that time, like he trusted you so much. Like we knew that you would know what to write. We wouldn't have to tell you, or if you'd be like, "Oh, we didn't have enough time to tell him," don't worry, he's going to find out and post it. So I'm grateful for it, and grateful for you for bringing the show to my attention to make this stuff happen. So when COVID happened, I literally, the first show I did with COVID, because they didn't have StreamYard or anything yet. I was doing a show on Facebook. I had an iPad for that. I had my cell phone for Instagram. I had another iPad for YouTube. I had my old laptop for Facebook. And I'm literally looking at all these things and different questions. And then literally a week later, StreamYard's like, oh, we can do 2 formats. Now it's 3. I wish they'd have Instagram because that would be more useful for us than Twitch, to be honest, But that's something that you were doing. You were hosting Thursday Night Football on Twitch, right?
Yeah. Twitch, Twitch is owned by Amazon, and Amazon had a deal with the NFL, and they hired like 30 of us to do shows where we could have the football game on the screen, and my head was like in a little box on the bottom. And it was really neat. The best part about it is when you didn't have anything to say, you could put up. It was Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, and you could put them up, and it was pretty fun. And then they would put you on the front page of Twitch, and so your audience would go from like 300 to about like 50,000 instantly.
Incredible.
And what you were judged on was not whether or not 50,000 would stay. It was how many people would stay. And It was kind of neat. When the deal went down that Amazon Prime would be exclusive, the theory is if they put it on Twitch, you didn't need Amazon Prime to go on Twitch. So they canceled the program.
Right.
So as soon as the NFL made the deal for Thursday Night Football with Amazon, ironically, that meant the end of my working for Amazon.
That sucks.
Yeah, it was a fun year. It was another project that was a year. It was pretty nuts.
Experience.
Yeah, it was a great experience. It was a great experience, and Twitch was a lot of fun. I did a charity event where you play video games. There's this charity called Gamers for Giving, and they raise money to buy like video game systems for kids that are stuck in the hospital. Terminally ill kids and cancer patients and whatnot. And they asked me to do it, and I might do like a marathon Twitch stream just to try to raise money for them.
Cool.
I'd have to play video games though, and I'd have to learn some.
You can get one of the.
Can you play Space Invaders on it?
If you have, well, it depends on the system. If you have a PlayStation, they do have like Space Invaders and old school games. Like
they do. That's awesome.
So you would be able to do that.
No, I have NHL 23, I think, 22, one of those.
That'd be cool. I tried playing, video games. That's another thing. I feel that's like another world. That's why I stopped playing it like before my 20s, because you're literally thinking you're playing for 90 minutes. Then you go use the bathroom, you look at the clock. It's like 10 hours went by. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. Video game time is completely different than real time.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard.
Get that. But now the kids are making mass money off of it.
Oh, the gamers, they do a lot. Yeah. There's these women that play one of the war games, and they did a partnership with the Philadelphia 76ers, and I did a sports podcast on e-gaming, and it's an untapped revenue stream. Like these people make tons of money, and they're literally playing video games. It's crazy.
I always trip when we have like people from different countries. I know for some places we were on the middle of the night there, and they would come for our show because the information that we would drop, thanks to Prince, although people didn't know that he was behind it. Like, I've already tried. I have some things I'll share on Wednesday, but I'm already trying to get us a scoop on Wednesday, and I think they want to be the ones to announce it. But I'll still have stuff for us to talk about and questions that people have had.
Yeah, but your show now is more retrospective anyway. It's not the difference.
Right.
Like all the people on Twitter that are noticing that.
I haven't looked yet because Twitter and the notifications.
Well, all I tweeted was that I cannot believe how dark my hair was.
Back then?
Back then, yeah.
Why is Dr. Funkenberry dressed as Barf from Spaceballs? Oh boy. Oh, Baron. I think we should have it secretly where Baron is in the room and he doesn't know he's being recorded, and then we put him on screen for everyone to see. So look at this. It's crazy to think how cutting edge Spreecast was at the time. This was pre-Zoom, pre-IG Live, pre-Facebook Live, and even YouTube live streams. No wonder Prince supported it. That's just crazy.
They
And
were
he
ahead of their
did.
time, man. It was a great platform. It was a lot of fun.
Right. And it's just that, you know, he did support us. He'd be like, we support this show, no one else, and all this stuff. So, you know, and now you have a bunch of shows, which is great. But I also try, even though we're being retrospective, I try to be how I feel he would want me to be, and that's respectful, and have people on that aren't gonna trash talk other people or whatnot. Because I love to have people on, but it's like we're also trying to help support Prince's legacy, you know. And I don't want to keep you any further, dude. Like, we're gonna have time on Wednesday.
Yeah,
This is
Wednesday.
just a taste for you guys.
Wednesday. We have many stories to tell.
Yes. And Seth will be talking about his first ever Prince experience, other things of all the shows that he attended, more than 4.
More than
And
4. Yeah, more than 4.
we could talk about your daughter and if she's still a Taylor Swift fan and things like that.
I'm trying to phase her out of it. Yeah.
Hey, ouch. All right. In closing, man, what do you want people to know? I can't wait to do a full show with you on Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday. We'll do Wednesday used to be our show night, so we'll do a show.
That's why I kept.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
just don't wear any funky hats or any
No,
weird
it is a
outfits.
little bit colder in LA than it should be. So you may get
Oh,
one of these,
I think we
but I'll
win
have a
cold.
matching nice dress shirt for it. When you lose weight, you get more opportunities to get better clothes.
That's right. That's right.
And then we can like retire this musty hat. We'll have a burial for it or something. I'm sure someone would want to
Too
buy
funny.
it. But
God, that
yeah.
takes me back.
On
Wow.
that note, my friend, thank you so much
20
for your
years
time. I
ago.
know it's quite late over there and you have an early morning. So I thank you again for your time.
You got it, man. Thanks for having me, and I'll see you on Wednesday.
See you on Wednesday. Thank you, everyone. So that was just a brief taste. Basically, it's like us doing Fallon or Colbert promoting our Wednesday show. I look forward to seeing everyone. Thank you guys for the support. Thanks for Bobby Bobby Z for hanging out in the chat room the entire night during the show. But yeah, Wednesday we're gonna have a lot of fun, a lot of surprises, and keep doing it. Thank you. I'm saying I look fantastic. Keep on your weight loss journey. Keep doing your things. Much love, everyone. See you Wednesday. Till next time, keep it funky. Much love to you. Much love to Prince.